This time, we are heading to the moon, and we intend to stay there. NASA, the U.S. government, and dozens of their commercial and international partners have come up with that strategy. And if they can follow that plan, we are looking at far more than just putting humans on the moon. Although landing is difficult, it is hardly the most challenging aspect. We've already done it. However, something completely new follows. We must build on the moon. We have to construct a long-term base, in essence, a tiny metropolis on another world. Furthermore, nobody knows for sure how it will turn out. But we do have some really creative and practical new ideas for extraterrestrial living. The lunar outpost location. We must first discuss the intended location of this moon outpost. The moon is quite large, and all of the previous human landings took place in, or near the center, a pleasant, secure area that made direct radio connection with Earth simple. However, that was in the 1960s. This time, when we go back to the moon, our goal is the lunar South Pole, which is a far more intriguing sight. This area is dotted with old volcanoes, mountain ranges, and massive impact craters. A few of the crater beds and low valleys are always shaded. The ground is likely covered in water ice that hasn't seen sunlight in millions, or even billions, of years, carried there by comets and asteroids from the early solar system. NASA has identified 13 possible landing locations for the Artemis program. These are primarily found on small sunlit ridges at the edges of craters or atop low mountains surrounded by rugged terrain and deep shadows. Although scientific research in this area will be extremely exciting, the risks for those who must live and work on the moon for weeks or months at a time will be just as great. Building a moon base, the challenges. As a result, infrastructure like never before will be needed. On Earth, every essential component of a city must be rebuilt in the harshest conditions possible, using the fewest resources available. Where do we start? Then, with roadways. Indeed, in order to function and construct efficiently, we will need roads, landing pads, and other solid surfaces. The issue that must be resolved is dust. A comparatively thin coating of extremely fine, light, and fluffy dust covers a lunar surface. Like broken glass, every grain of this lunar sand is rough and sharp. It was known to damage the glass on astronauts' helmets and cut through the outer layers of spacesuits during the Apollo missions. The dust is also extremely sticky, which makes a problem worse. The lunar roving vehicle once overheated because dust clogged its radiator. The trick is that once you kick up dust on the moon, there's no atmosphere and very little gravity, so it can travel far and stay suspended for a long time. Lessons from Apollo. When Apollo 12 arrived on the moon, NASA asked the astronauts to approach Surveyor 3, a probe that had landed there a few years earlier. They wanted to examine it. To their surprise, even though the Apollo spacecraft landed 180 meters away, the dust stirred up by its rocket engines had sandblasted Surveyor 3. Therefore, if we plan to construct a lunar base, where people will be landing, taking off, driving, and working constantly, we must take all possible steps to control and eliminate lunar dust. Possible solutions. This means constructing landing pads, roadways, and other hard surfaces around the base camp. In the short term, the quickest and dirtiest solution could be something called rhino snot. The U.S. military uses a spray-on substance to strengthen dirt roads and helicopter landing pads and field. It was popular in Afghanistan for solidifying dry sand and was found to be very effective at reducing dust clouds during helicopter takeoff and landing. So, it could work as a temporary fix, but it's not ideal. Using it on the moon would mean polluting the surface with microplastics and hauling all that material from Earth. A more sustainable, scalable solution might involve simply melting the lunar surface into solid glass. The European Space Agency, ESA, is currently testing this idea through an experiment known as PAVA, short for Paving the Way for Exploration Roads. Researchers have been experimenting with melting artificial lunar dust into a solid, glass-like surface using a powerful laser. This concept actually dates back to 1933, when it was first suggested that solar energy could be used to pave extraterrestrial surfaces.